Recently, I was searching around eBay to see what was available for different kits and other project items, and I came across this brand new in the box Roundhouse Boxcab Track Cleaner for what I thought was a pretty decent price. So as I was looking it over, I thought this might make for a fun one-take video project. So we'll see if I can actually get that finished in just a single take in this video. Just getting the instruction sheet out here so I have some reference material to go by. And then there's the main unit there with the shell and the chassis, motors inside. I don't know if all these parts are packed exactly as they were from the factory, but I think it is all there. This motor here I think is the same one that Varney used to use for their late models and Lifelike for their early ones. And then inside is the rest of the parts and a whole lot of different little bags here. The trucks, they come pre-assembled for the most part. It looks like these contacts are a little bit bent. I'll take care of that later. I was actually looking over some of these parts just before the video to see how the condition of everything was. And I found that these wheels here and the gears are actually Athearn parts. So those should work pretty well, but that also means that they're easily replaceable with new ones in case I ever want to upgrade it. They use the same outside frame bearings that some of Athearn's early models did. And let's see, it looks like these are the pilots, couplers, gear tower. See some detail parts. And this is the track cleaning kit. Without that, it's just a regular box cab. This looks like electrical pickups. And then right here would be the flywheel and its support blocks. It's really not a very big flywheel, so we'll see if that's actually useful at all. Now let's see what I need to do to get started here. Please read over the complete diesel assembly instructions. Yeah, I don't think I need to do that. I've built enough kits. Okay, exploded diagram, parts list. So it looks like the first page doesn't have any actual instructions on it. All that is on the second page, starting with step 10. Here we go, step 1. Underframe, clean, deburr the underframe, of course. I think the dice were pretty new at the time that this was made, so this is pretty clean already. But there's still a little to take off here, so I'll just get rid of that real quick. Let's see if I can get a little more of that with a knife. Not really. There's not much in that spot though, so I think that'll be fine. Won't get in the way. Motor's got a good magnet. Attracted itself to the file. Keep that out of the way. Let's see, around here. Thanks to the design of this, I may not even have to paint the underframe because the shell completely surrounds most of it. And then these ends here I think will be covered by the pilots, which are already black. Let's see, a little more flash around here. And around here. And there we go. That should be all ready for use. Let's see, they want me to work on the power trucks next. So let's see what we've got here. Outlined below, familiarize yourself. Installation. Let's see, I guess there's a top retainer plate somewhere. Get that out of the way for now. Which bag is that in? Let's see, not this one. Oh, this must be in here. Okay. Slice that on open. Yeah, these are the retainers. So 4 little clips like they mentioned, bit of flash on there. File that off. These are made from the Delran acetyl type plastic, so quite a bit tougher than some of the other plastics might be. Let's see, that looks like a bit of molding flash. Yeah, slice that off. Drop a little part down here. Okay. Before I put that plate on, I think I want to give these a little bit of oil. So while I was looking at the design, I found that these are held together by these little clips down here. So let's see if I can just snap that off. Not quite. Need a small screwdriver to get in there. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so there's the construction. And yeah, that's completely dry. Not a bit of oil inside. I'll zoom in a little here. I think that'll make things easier to see for you. Okay. And the worm shaft comes out just like that. Its bearings are molded directly into the plastic. Hopefully that won't cause problems or make it too sloppy. See, these wheels, since they haven't been used, I think they'll be all right without some cleaning. I'll just give a quick short circuit test to be sure. Oh yeah, those are perfectly fine for use. No need to do any cleaning there. I can just get right to building. Alright, so I'll just start with some oil. Where'd my little oil stick go? I'm always misplacing that thing. Well, it's just a piece of wire. I'll cut a new one real quick. Okay, got some copper wire here. Bend that around into a little handle. And now I have myself an oiling stick. Place a drop on each of these axle bearings. This is ATF, automatic transmission fluid. It's a good, long-lasting light oil for this kind of stuff. Then I also want to get some grease onto those gears. So I'll just take some of my white lithium here. Spread a little onto each one. Doesn't take much of this stuff to keep it running nice and smooth. All right. Drop the worm shaft back in. Just have to make sure those Washers are in place. Spread the sides a little. Yeah, didn't get that angle quite right. Rearrange. Okay, try again. There, this time I think I've got it. Almost. It's kind of an interesting design they've got for the truck. Assembling it is really tedious. There. Now it'll hold together. Accidentally got a little grease around there. I'll just wipe that off. Now I can snap that back on. Drop of oil at each end. Okay, so this one's ready to use. Let's see. I guess this plate just snaps onto there. There we go. Fits a little tight. Oops, I think I got those contacts stuck in there by accident. Yeah. Need to make sure these stay outside. Yeah, it'll be easier if I bend those out like that. I can bend them back later. Okay. That's looking better. And that's turning freely. Okay, now the same for the other truck, which hopefully will go quicker. think this is making it easier just having the truck on the table so that I can hold it open at the angle I want. Yeah, that worked better. Okay, that'll be enough grease on those gears. I did also build an MDC Roundhouse Shay a few years back, and the truck design of those is similar to these, and it ran all right when I first assembled it, but I did find that drilling out the plastic bearings and replacing that with some good quality metal ones actually improved things quite a bit, because the shaft wasn't as free to wobble around in there. Just helped to tighten up the assembly, smooth it out. So if this turns out being a rough runner, that may be one upgrade I'll make to this too. Feels a little tight. I'll just move things around a little bit. That doesn't feel too bad. I think we'll be fine here. This part's a little loose though. And there might be a split in this connector, so yeah, I see a split in the connector. I don't think that'll be too hard to fix though. I'll just, here we go. Some large pliers. Give that a good squeeze. Make some marks in the shaft. Deform it slightly. Now a little drop of glue on the hole. And that doesn't get close enough to the bearing for the glue to run in there. So I'll just wipe a bit of excess off from the surface. Yeah, I think that'll be good to go. And the other one is not split. That feels perfectly fine. Okay, trucks are ready. And now assemble the main gear tower. Okay, oh good. So it looks like the middle gear is made of metal. It sits on a shaft. That's better than the Shay, because that one used all plastic gears on plastic shafts, and those were known to kind of wear out. That feels a little rough. There must be some flash in there. Ah, that spot there. I think I see just a bit of flash on the inside, and that felt like it was binding with the teeth. See if I can carve that out a little without damaging the rest of the part, of course. That didn't help. I think I actually made it worse. Ah, yeah, there we go. seeing this in better light, I can see where the flash is at. Gotta get rid of that stuff. Any flash inside of the gearbox is just going to cause noise and problems, and I don't want that. This is more acetoplastic. It's tougher to carve this stuff out than it is to do regular plastic, of course, or sometimes even metal. It should be better, but it still feels a little rough inside. There might also be some on the gear itself. I feel just a small amount of roughness. Yeah, so the gear should be fine, but I have to do more cleanup in that gear tower. If I have another tool that can do better with that. Or maybe just a regular flat blade screwdriver will do the job. Look for any rough spots. I can kind of feel around with this. That's interesting. So the metal gear doesn't actually sit on a metal shaft. It sits on these plastic pins. It turns like that. Very interesting. It feels like it'll work fine now. Yeah, there's some roughness right around here. And here. Oh, that's feeling a lot better now. Really helps to get rid of those tiny bits of flash that are inside the rotating surface areas. And I'll do the same here. Again, I feel a little roughness, so just scratch that out. Yeah, that feels nice and smooth. Moves freely inside. This is an interesting design that they came up with. I having the gear act as the bearing with the socket right in the middle there. Definitely makes it easier to manufacture once you've got the mold together. Okay, so I'm going to put a couple drops of oil just in the surface here. I want to keep every part of it moving as smoothly as possible. Same for here. In the hole. And a touch more here where the small gear will be. That feels like it's turning really freely, so that's good. Everything's moving as smoothly as possible. Yeah, I don't think there will be any problems coming from this part. So that's looking good. And it looks like there are no screws holding it together. It just relies on the ones that hold it into the frame. So what's the proper way to put all these together? So it looks like it's going to be a very tight assembly. But the motor definitely has to install before the trucks. I wonder how the trucks are held in there. Well, you know what? There might be an additional piece that fits into the middle retainer there. So I'll probably have to snap those covers back off, but I'll get to that once I'm ready to put the trucks on. So for now, I will put the gearbox in here. Does this only go one way? No, it's just a tight fit. It looks like that. Yeah, there we go. It presses into there. And it still turns freely. It's not putting too much pressure on it. Not quite perfect, though. So I'm going to file a little bit of material off of these two tabs here on that side because it looks like that's what presses against the frame and helps to hold this together. Seems like it's pressing too tight. I had to squeeze the gearbox a little in order to fit inside, and that put pressure onto the gears. They were close to turning freely though, so I don't have to take much material off. That feels a little better. Line that up. It looks like it's these 4 screws. Yeah, 4 of these 3/16 screws. These are all untapped holes in the metal, but the screws that Roundhouse includes are self-tapping. So these really aren't too difficult to put in. You just have to put some pressure down on the screw head, and they thread right on in. This almost feels a little bit overkill having 4 screws holding this together along with the pressure fit. but that means it's definitely not going to go anywhere. It's better to overcompensate than not have enough. That is nice and tight in there, and it still feels like it's turning freely. Now the motor is what they're wanting me to do next. And since the screw for holding the motor, or screws, looks like they're probably two, those are being covered up by the truck once it's installed, so it definitely has to go in before the truck. And they also have you check the gear mesh. That looks pretty good already. Yeah, I think the gear mesh will be fine without any adjustment. Definitely won't be a quiet runner though. In fact, how's the condition of this gear? This gear actually has a split in it. Let's see, 9-tooth. I don't think I have any replacement gears of this size. But it's split more, separated more at one end than the other, so maybe I can just adjust this to an okay position for now. I'm gonna drill it out a little bit so that it's not quite as tight of a fit, and then I can glue it onto the shaft. I think that'll work. If it doesn't work, or at least doesn't work very well, I can figure out a replacement sometime later. But for now, I think I can at least get it running today. I just need to find the right size of drill bit, which I know I have around here somewhere. Is that the one? There we go. Yeah, that's the one I need. It's definitely a looser fit now. It looks like I might actually have to do a mesh adjustment. Raise the back of the motor up a little because the mesh was loose. Okay. Let's see. So this 1/8 inch screw is for the front, and there should also be a 440 somewhere for the back of the motor. It's got to be in one of these packages. The screws are for the flywheel from... Oh wait, are those for the flywheel? Oh, there it is. I didn't see it because it was upside down. So because I need to raise the back of the motor just slightly, I think a single washer will be enough. And I have one of those right over here. One of these red fiber washers from Katie. Check that real quick. was sort of meshing before and now it isn't. What happened? Maybe I just had that sitting wrong on there. Okay. So I think that'll be correct then. One of these washers in the back another self-tapping screw. This one goes into the plastic front of the motor. Mesh actually feels pretty smooth. I might be able to get away with using this cracked gear. Well, that's good to know. Usually you have to replace cracked gears because they end up causing problems, but in this case, I think I can actually get away with that. So I'm just going to do the same thing as I did for that cracked universal coupling on the truck, and just slightly deform the shaft where the motor fits. And this will be harder steel than what was used on the truck shaft, so I'll bring that over to my vise real quick, have it right back over there. Yeah, not much marking in there, but I think that'll be enough. This time we'll put the glue onto the shaft. Got a little drop in place. And I'll twist the gear on there so the glue really spreads through and grabs hold, and that feels good and tight. I think this will work. And I should also give the motor a little bit of fresh oil. So I'm sure it hasn't seen any in 40, 50 years maybe. However long it's been since this kit was made. Probably about 40 years. Been working on this for just about 40 minutes so far. I think I'm making pretty good time. Yeah, I don't feel any binding there. So let's power that up real quick. Oh yeah, it's going to be a noisy one. But I feel no binding at all in there. Of course, some grease will help with that. And one thing about models that have a tower gear drive like this, it's pretty easy to replace that with a much quieter belt and pulley system. So that may be something I'll do eventually. But again, for now, I just want to build this as is and see how it works. Now, before I work on the power trucks, I actually want to put in the flywheel here. And very interesting, it's a cast metal flywheel made from zinc instead of the usual turned brass. Hopefully that'll be balanced. If not, at least I know how to do balancing. And from the look of it, all this just sits in here. They have the 2 screws, but I don't think they're actually used for anything. What's the correct way to have these positioned? Okay. So they're positioned this way. It looks like the flywheel shaft will not quite be aligned with the motor, at least as these are. So what I can do is file down these bottom posts a little, just to lower the flywheel. Since this is connected with drive tubing, you really want it to be as close to inline as possible, because the more drive tubing is out of line, the more stress it puts onto the drive joint. And the key to having this kind of connection system work well is to have everything as close to perfectly aligned as possible. You can see there it's still a lot higher than the motor shaft, but I can also still see a lot of daylight coming in between the flywheel and chassis, which means I can lower this a lot more. One thing about this type of plastic is that it takes a long time to file, since it's so tough. That at least means it's going to last for a long time. It's just harder to work with it. And it leaves a nice powdery mess around too. Of course, anything will do that with a file. I'm feeling impatient right now. So let's skip filing. Let's just go straight to a Dremel wheel here. Safety goggles. And as long as you're careful, you can take plastic down like this. Little at a time. If you try and do this too quickly, it'll heat up the plastic and just kind of melt it all over. But if all you do is give it little shaves like that, you can get pretty decent results. Okay, let's see how this looks. getting closer. Still have a little more to go. So it looks like, for the one closest to the motor at least, I think I can just, no, actually, maybe something else preventing that from going in. Just a little pressure on the sides. Yeah. These are press fit parts. And the press fit wasn't allowing it to go down quite as far as I needed. I think that'll work now. Okay, so that one is aligned correctly now. So I just need to take care of the back one to level out the flywheel, and that should be perfectly aligned. Almost there. Need to do the same as I did for the other one, where I reduce the sides just slightly. Yeah, that looks good. I'd say that's close enough. So now I'll just pull this back off one more time so that I can get that tubing in place. And that still feels like it has some flexibility. It's pressed on enough that I can get the flywheel in. I'll use the pliers to make adjustments to it and pull it a little more onto the motor shaft. That alignment should be good now. If that rattles, and I think I can just put a drop of glue in each side there to help keep things in place. And this will definitely need oil. Looks like I can actually pull that a little further onto the motor shaft. I see a small gap right there, which means there may be pressure on the back. There we go. Almost perfectly centered between the two supports. That'll keep it moving as freely as possible. Yeah, that flywheel does vibrate. It's not perfectly balanced. It's not too far off. I can't see it like I can with some of the worst flywheels I've come across. Maybe I can find it with the Sharpie. It seems like it's most consistently hitting right around these areas. I think that feels a little better. I'll drill out a little more. This bit's a little dull though, so I'm going to change that real quick. Getting close. I think a little more will get that just right. Well, I'll just call that close enough for now. I don't want to waste too much time, since it is already working. Okay. Now I think I can put the trucks onto there. I see. So the truck retainers are installed to the frame first with some little mounting arms, and then you snap the actual truck up onto them. They definitely had some interesting ideas for putting these together. I Can't say they're all good ones, but definitely creative. So this fits up in here. And then this must be one of their little mounting arms. Yeah. And there's one larger part there that fits into the larger hole. Does that press in at all? I don't know. There we go. So that fits just like that. Okay. Okay, so it has one of these screws going into the small hole. And then a long one goes through here. Let's see, is there anything that goes with that? Using the long screw passing through the underframe from the bottom side. Insulated bushing. Electrical jumper bar. The illustration isn't really that good here. This is definitely for electrical pickup. Would that really be it? I think the way this is set up, it says contact. These contacts, they press up against the screw heads. Very interesting. So that goes up through there. Then this insulator goes here. Has to fit into that hole. That might be easier without the screw in there. Start with the insulator. Maybe I can squeeze that in there. Get out these pliers again. That did it. Little flash on this one. Clip that off. All right. That goes through here. I guess that goes here with a nut to hold it in place. Does this just connect to one of these? I guess it does. So this is a jumper bar. Yeah, okay, I see how that works. That goes under this nut. Hold on to that. And tighten this screw. Okay, so that'll get an electrical contact from the one rail. Now the other one. So the way that this is snapped together, I have to wonder how this is supposed to come apart for maintenance once the trucks are actually on the chassis. Unless all you do is pull really hard and hope it doesn't break, which I've seen systems like that before, so it wouldn't surprise me. Okay, that's tight. Okay, so that takes care of the electrical system. And these are the universals for the trucks. So they don't really need to rotate much. And I guess these contacts need to bend outward. At least I'm pretty sure. Better check how that's going to work. Yeah. Looks like if I bend them out right at this point here, and that'll get them right where they need to be. So just about even with that slot for the plate there. Universal fits on like that. Goes into the socket. And then the truck should snap down should snap down. This is a pretty difficult part to align. That and the truck kind of wants to spread apart. Come on. Oh, I think this bottom plate got out of place. That should help. Really finicky assembly. Now let's see how this fits. has to snap together. It looks like this side went out of place again, though. Almost got it. Okay, I think it's going on now. Of course, the bottom plate went out of line again. I think that's snapped on now, though. Okay, one truck down. I guess these don't need to swivel too much since it has such a short wheelbase. Let's give this a quick test and see how the electrical contact is working. Nothing yet. Oh, looks like I kind of bent this one too much while I was working with it. Okay, that's working. It also seems to be wired backwards. Or, no, wait. My brain was backwards. That's what was going on. It definitely runs slow. That's full speed there. That'll be a real slow runner. But now I know it works. This looks like a job for tweezers. There, that'll be better. So yeah, the truck doesn't swivel nearly enough for those contacts to go off of the screw heads. So, now the other one. This has to be, no wait, never mind. I thought it had to be a quarter turn from the other one, but it's just short enough that that's actually not necessary. Once again, tedious alignment with these latches while holding the universal in place. Instead of coming up with this convoluted and awkward system here, they really could have just looked to some of the other brands with well-reviewed systems and done something based on those. think that's going together. I see all the latches. Okay, and it looks like the bottom plate didn't go out of alignment this time. Just move that back and forth a little to make sure it's together. And once again, test the electrical pickup. Okay, looks like we're all good here. Motor doesn't have a lot of torque, slow as the gearing is on here. Let's get a piece of track on here. I'm powered up all I want with the clips. It's a better test to actually put it on track. Make sure it's working. And that's doing just fine. And that is slow. I suppose it makes sense though, considering they came up with this chassis, I think first for their Climax model. Of course, that's a geared logging steam engine. Move this gear a little bit though. I think this will all be fine. So now I can put the grease onto that gear tower and call the chassis finished, I think. Let that run into there. Make sure the gear spreads on both sides of the teeth. Make sure the grease spreads on both sides of the gear teeth. With just a little more. This sure is an interesting model. With that, I think we can call the chassis done. And with these, that's the hard part. So at this point, all that's left is just putting some details on and then the track cleaning pads. Okay, mechanism's done. Yeah, motor should never run hot. And the ammeter was showing that that is all just fine, so no problems there. Okay, so these are the regular Boxcab details. These here are the track cleaning parts. I wonder if it's a one or the other situation. I'll take them all out. And there are separate instructions for this too, which I sliced here. So these discs are actually a pretty rough material. So these aren't like the felt pads to just kind of rub up against the track. These are actually for, I think they'll basically sand down the track. That'll take the dirt off quickly, that's for certain. They give you a lot of them too. Plenty of replacements. They're held on by glue. So they're enough for one assembly and then 2 sets of replacements. Okay, so the parts are all used together. These act as pilot extensions. So I think they fit on here like this. Or is it the pilots that fit onto those tabs? Well, there's also some flash to trim off. In the time since I've started this kit, the sun's gone down. That looks slightly warped, but I think the frame will hold that together. Maybe it goes, is it this way? What's the correct way to do this? Because it looks on the sheet like there are holes at both ends. Oh no. Oh no, that's it. Okay. So those are actually posts for the screw holes. I see. That makes more sense. Once again, self-tapping screws. It's a little hard to do self-tapping when you're using flat heads. Okay, so there's one. A little more flash to trim off of here. Okay, that's nice and tight. And for the actual assembly here, well, the assembly of the cleaning parts anyway. Alright, so these fit together just like this. Okay, so it looks like this here is the shoe that goes on the bottom. It gets pushed by the spring. Oh wait, the spring does not go in yet. At least I'm pretty sure it doesn't. The way the instructions look, this needs to go in. Okay, I think these parts press together. So I need something to hold inside while I press the disc down. Too big. Yeah, I think that'll do. Maybe not. Looks like these are supposed to press fit. It's just really, really tight. At the same time, I don't want to accidentally make it too loose. So there has to be a good way to do this. Just have to find a better tool for it. Is there anything else around here that I can use? No, maybe... not that one. Maybe this will do. I think I can use this. I just need something to push this on. That's a block of lead. I don't want to use lead. Yeah, maybe I can use the side of my wheel puller here. Push this down inside, and then maybe I can take a hammer and tap that on. I could be wrong. Try that again. I think that's actually going in now. Can it move though? Yes, that can move. Okay. Press it on the rest of the way. And get something to support the back of the chassis here. I'll use my other wheel puller. That went on a lot easier once it started. That motion seems good. Now I can drop the spring in and then press on this cap. This spider wanted to make its home on my hammer. Okay. That looks pretty good, but I think that can press on a little more. Or, oh no, looks like it's not supposed to. So that's good there. That's how it's supposed to be. All right, 3 more to go. And now that I know how to do it, they should go a lot faster. Place that there. Drop this down inside. Take the bolt. Get that lined up as best as I can. And down it goes. And with the way that this is designed, looks like if I ever want to make this just a regular running box cab, it's easy enough to take these parts off and then just put the pilots directly onto the ends. For some reason, this one's not wanting to spring down. If you heard that bang just now, I think a rabbit must have jumped against one of my window well covers. This one's rotating kind of tight inside. Maybe there's some flash that I didn't get off. Oops, don't want to damage this. Okay, let's try that again. Maybe that'll work now. These springs don't put much tension onto the plungers. Seems like that's mostly good. Oh, I'll just do better at trimming the other ones. And if I keep working at this, I think it'll be okay eventually. All right. Get the rest of these parts. I should close up the Sharpie before it dries out. I think I see where I messed up with that other one. I didn't take off the flash cells around that rim. That one feels like it'll be a lot more loose and free moving. Not quite finding the pin there. There it goes. Got free movement. Looks good. One more to go. Okay. Yep, just that one is moving a little stiff. I might see if I can get that pulled apart later so that I can clean that up. But for now, I don't want to work on that too fast and accidentally break something. Now the pilots. Well, they use the Delrin acetyl stuff for just about everything on here. Couplers, I think I can put Katie's into here instead, so I'm going to try that first. Let's see which way these go. Round this way, I think. Okay. So these all press fit together instead of using screws. Okay. And this presses on right here. Gotta get these tabs aligned. I'm sure the idea for marketing was that all this press fit construction makes it quicker and easier to put together, but I think it was just more for cost savings than anything. These really don't want to fit. That's too large to use. Let's see. I just have to get the angle right. There it goes. Really got to press these in evenly to make sure it sits right. That should be good now. And now the coupler. See, there's this cover plate here. Does that wide part go in the front or the back? My guess would be the front. Yeah, probably the back. At least it looks like this has screws. Now the front of the box, they actually show the model installed with Katie's instead of the horn hooks that they provide. So I'm sure that these will fit fine. Okay, yeah, that goes in back. Is the screw magnetic? Not quite. But it's magnetic enough. So in that case, I'm just going to stick a magnet on my screwdriver. There, that attracts the screw. And once again, it's self-tapping. That should be tight enough. And it looks like the height is good enough. Maybe a little bit high. Any flash on these parts? Yeah, those look good. So more of the press fit. That one went in a little easier though. This is definitely more difficult than the 060 tank steam engine in that other one take video I did. But now that I'm getting it figured out, it is at least going together. There are definitely plenty of ways that they could have made this kit better. I was actually looking up the original price on these. In the mid-70s, they were, I think, about $23, or inflated to today's cost, that's about $115. For something like this, that would definitely seem like a poor value if these were still being made. So they definitely want to offer these for a lower price if they were to continue making them, which I don't see them ever doing. Since Roundhouse was purchased by Horizon, they've stopped production on basically all of the old Roundhouse models. They, of course, upgraded the tooling for the old-time 260, 280, and put that into the Athearn line. Yeah, but most of the models, I don't think we'll ever see them again. It's kind of a shame, because some of them were decent quality for starter models, ready to run or not. But for one like this, I think they would have basically had to work from the ground up to make a new chassis. Because this definitely does not measure up to modern standards. And honestly, the performance and amount of noise I'm getting from this thing honestly wasn't the best even when these were new in the 70s either. You get much better runners from Athearn, Atlas, and a number of others. Even Bachmann had a really nice 8-wheel drive chassis at first. Okay, pilots are on, couplers are on. What's next? Probably just the details. I don't think there's anything more that goes on the chassis, so let's bring the shell over. And I think all the detail parts are on this one sprue here. I see, so the gearbox doubles as the mounting lugs for the body. That snaps on over it. Okay, so there's what the mostly assembled model looks like. It actually looks pretty nice, I'd say. At least these parts are made from regular plastic, so it'll be easier to work with them. Pretty clean cut. I'll just trim off some of those molding tabs. Looks like I don't even need to file it. Yeah, that came off pretty clean. And I do see there's a front and back to this, and different hole locations on the roof. So that means there is one way that these all go together. Let's see, the correct way. Just looking at the manual. Again, not all the illustrations are that good. I can't tell by looking at it which is the front and which is the back for this part. Maybe they've got something written in here. Mounting screws. Actually, there's nothing written in here about the assembly of the details for the shell. Basically, all this is about assembling the chassis. How's the picture on the front of the box look? Maybe that'll tell me something. Let's see. Let's see where that is. Okay. So it looks like it goes this way. I better take the shell back off to do these. That'll make it easier. And the roof was kind of flexing while I pressed this down. I think most of these parts can just press fit on there. But I'm going to use, oops, the camera. I'm going to use some of my liquid plastic glue here just to make sure that it all stays together as well as possible. Brush a little on those tabs. That's all it needs. Okay. There are these parts that cap those off. Carefully file off the flash. It looks like there's a little on the bottom too. Better take care of that. That should look all right now. Yeah, that's better. A little bit on top there. In the hole. Okay. That'll hold it. Trying to keep all this on the camera as well as I can. Sometimes it's kind of hard to do that when I'm focusing on the parts. Okay. Oops. dropped that one. Good thing this isn't a shape that rolls away easily. Carpet on my floor makes it just about impossible sometimes to find these little parts that drop on it. I want to replace that eventually. This carpet's gotten some flood damage anyway. See, does this have a press fit? Well, it's tight, but it's not a press fit. Once again, glue it on. They don't even show where these headlights go in the instructions. I wonder if they're used at all. Ah, I see. So they go on the front and back. And not even in specific locations. It looks like it's just wherever you want them. So I'll do those last. That came off without any flash. Okay, and then there are these roof pieces here. Tab on there. I wonder if that's for mounting the headlight if you want it on top. There's no hole in the headlight, so I guess not. Check the box again. It's interesting on the box. Actually noticing that they used some alternative detail parts instead of the ones provided with the kit. So you can see pretty clearly instead of this molded part, this one here is probably a lost wax one or even made from separate wires. You'd think on their own box they would have made sure to use only their own parts. I'll just line this up. One of these holes I can only get to from the outside though. I'm going to have to be real careful adding the glue there. There, just placed a drop on there, let that run inside. I just used a Q-tip to touch that off real quick. I think that's where the headlight's going to go anyway, so it should cover up any little mistakes caused by the glue. This time around, I'm going to put the glue onto that tab first, since I know where it lines up anyway. And start by inserting that one and push this down into that hole. And then put on the rest of the glue from the inside. Okay. And now the bell. Molded in black plastic, not brass. This can be painted to look like brass, or you can just assume it was one of those bells that the railroad painted while they were doing maintenance on the engine. This one's got a loose fit compared to the other parts. I think I'm going to put super glue onto this one. If I can get a grip on it. And of course keep it from sticking to me instead. Okay, that looks straight. And now what's left is 2 ladders and the headlights. These headlights have number board details on them. These don't want to trim quite as easily as some of those other parts did. But that's turning out looking okay. All right. Back is a little rough. File that smooth. That'll make it easier to glue. We're past the 2-hour mark now. This is definitely taking longer than my last video, but we're almost done. Does this go right here? Kind of covers up that door a little bit, so that doesn't seem correct. I wonder if these headlights are just an afterthought that they threw in for whoever wanted them. Because they really aren't shown in the manual anywhere in the illustrations. Okay, so there's one here. Okay, so they do actually have it on this drawing. Well, you know what? I think they might go right there. Okay, how's that look? Yeah, I think that'll turn out best. Again, no locating tabs or anything. So all I can do here is just glue it where I want it. I think these parts are going to need a little more than just the glue from those tabs to hold them in. Possibly. It's not dry yet. But as long as that's going to be out of sight, I think I'll actually just touch a little glue to right here. Let that flow through. Well, if that doesn't hold, I'll use super glue. I think that'll be all right, though. The design of these headlights is mostly hollow, so that actually makes them easy to drill through for adding your own light bulbs. Okay, I think I've got that in place. I'm going to put a tiny bit of glue just on the back here. Let that run in. That'll help the plastic parts to bond a little more. Okay, and it looks like all that's left now is a couple ladders. And those ladders, where do they go? They probably go underneath the door here. That's my best guess anyway. Again, though, not very good illustrations on that part. And the photo is dark enough in that area that I can't really see anything. It looks like this here is actually part of the ladder, so maybe that's to help with mounting it. At least that's my hope. It does feel really flat in there, so I think that's how it's supposed to be. In this case, a little bit of super glue. Okay, I'll do the same for the other one. This one actually got an incomplete molding, so only one post is on there. Okay, looks like that's all done now. Everything seems to be holding together. So, see if it snaps on. I'm just being gentle to make sure I don't knock anything out of place. And I think that did it. That ladder is kind of preventing it from snapping on fully, though. It's not in the way of the trucks, though. They're not in the way of the trucks. So I wonder if that's how they intended for it to be used. No slot in the body, though, so I don't know. The shell's not quite holding on with that. So I wonder if I can maybe file some of that down just to help. Do the same for this side, just to be sure. All right. I think this time it's actually going to snap in place. Or at least come close. Not quite, though. Ah, that's popping up really easily. Well, maybe I can't use those ladders after all. They're definitely pushing out on the sides. So I think I'll take those back off. And that must be why they didn't use them themselves. At least taking them out is easy enough. Yeah, that's holding on a lot better. So I'm going to leave the ladders off. Might as well stick some of these pads on, complete the model. If I can get the backing off of there. Okay. These stick on just like that. And then they rub up against the track and clean off the dirt. At least that's the idea. It's kind of a gooey adhesive, probably to make sure that these don't stick on permanently. Lets you take them back off for whenever they need to be changed. I think this would also make it easy to maybe glue some thin felt pads onto these plungers instead and put a little track cleaning fluid on there. That would be a little more gentle than these rough pads. And last one is on. Just toss these. And it looks like that is it. The track cleaning box cab is all finished and assembled, ready to run. Well, might as well get that piece of track back up here. Make sure that it's working. Zoom out just slightly. There we go. Yeah, those are rubbing up against the track. And off it goes. Sure is noisy. I wonder what the decibel reading is on there. I won't be surprised if it's somewhere in the 75 or 80 range. It seems like the track is a little shinier where this was running along. You probably can't see the reflection too well in the camera there. But in this area where it wasn't running, I can see just a bit of oxidation on the rails. And right here, it looks a lot smoother and shinier. So it seems like these pads do actually do their job. So that's what it takes to build one of these box cab kits. It can be assembled with or without the track cleaning as a running model. And I would say that this is a good candidate for a belt drive to quiet it way, way down. But it seems to be a pretty decent looker overall. And I think I'll do another video with it later just to show it running around the track, maybe give my little additional review and some thoughts on it. But for now, I think that's all. So, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, that is 2 hours and 17.5 minutes. Definitely my longest video.